Welcome to Dark Truths. Religion Uncovered. This is where the ancient world collides with modern sensibilities, and we challenge belief to find its courage again, especially when things get uncomfortable. Tonight, we're tackling a massive shift in modern faith, one that's changed it more than any skeptic ever could. How divine judgment went from being a core truth to an impolite and almost forbidden topic. In ancient theology, judgment wasn't about being cruel. It was a spotlight. It showed you what was broken, exposed the lies, and drew a clear line between what leads to life and what leads to destruction. Divine judgment wasn't a punishment, rather a reality check. The old prophets didn't tiptoe around it. They knew their words would offend people, but they spoke the truth anyway. Even Jesus didn't avoid judgment. He just turned it inward, like a surgeon cutting away hypocrisy, forcing people to look at their own hearts instead of throwing stones at others. The point wasn't to condemn, it was to reveal the truth. But today, the word judgment is radioactive. If you judge, you're unloving. If you confront a wrong, you're exclusive. If you name a moral problem, you lack compassion. We've redesigned God to be endlessly tolerant, affirming, and agreeable, a harmless deity who would never dream of offending anyone. But ancient wisdom would say a God who never challenges you isn't telling you the truth. And the truth, by its very nature, shatters our comfortable illusions. Judgment makes waves because it doesn't care about our feelings. It cares about reality. The scriptures didn't promise us constant comfort. They promise us exposure. The divine word is described as living and active, sharper than any double-edged sword. A sword isn't diplomatic. It cuts to heal, or to remove what's diseased. Modern belief has traded that sharpness for a dull, mushy softness, thinking that being kind means being silent. But ancient theology would argue that staying silent while someone walks toward a cliff isn't kindness. Rather, it's negligence. Judgment is like a fire alarm, trying to save what can still be saved. When we lose this, repentance becomes aimless. Belief becomes a vague feeling. This is why so much of modern religion feels like it has no urgency. Sin is just a concept. Responsibility is fuzzy, and accountability is optional. The stakes feel low. Ancient believers felt an intense urgency because judgment was real and present. Choices had weight. Paths had clear moral consequences. Life was not neutral. Today, that urgency is gone because judgment feels distant, or it's been erased completely. Now, the scriptures doesn't just throw judgment out there. It filters it through mercy. God's judgment isn't born from a desire to punish, but from a fierce commitment to stop us from destroying ourselves. A God without judgment isn't a God of love. He's a distant, detached observer who doesn't care enough to intervene. Of course, there's a good reason we're scared of judgment. We've seen it get twisted and weaponized throughout history for power and control. But just because it's been misused doesn't mean it has no purpose. Ancient theology draws a vital line between judgment and condemnation. Condemnation crushes, judgment clarifies. One shames, the other reveals truth for the sake of healing. We've lost the vocabulary to tell them apart, so we've thrown out judgment entirely. And what's the result? A faith that's permissive, not redemptive. A God who never offends will never challenge injustice. A faith that avoids judgment will never be able to name evil. And a religion that refuses to make anyone uncomfortable will eventually stop telling the truth. So we're left with this hard reality. Deception is the opposite of love, not offense. A God who never offends you has stopped trying to wake you up. Ancient theology knew this. Modern belief has forgotten. So, we'll leave you with the question ancient faith would ask us today. If the truth no longer offends you, is it still the truth? Thanks for joining us on Dark Truths. Let us know in the comments. Is judgment a necessary part of mercy? Or has our search for comfort made us too afraid to be challenged? Let's keep this difficult but vital conversation going. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more.